Na mtazamaji, karibu katika kipindi unachokienzi sana, Talk It Out, kipindi kinachozungumzia masuala ya wanaume. Unajua wanaume wanapitia mambo mengi duniani na pia katika hali yao ya maisha. Hivi leo ninaye katika studio zetu bwana mmoja ambaye ni Emmanuel Swaka. Anatuzungumzia zaidi kuhusu mambo ambayo wanaume wanayapitia na ni vipi tunaweza wasaidia. Karibu katika hiki kipindi kuanzia sasa hadi tamati. Swaka, karibu tena.
Asante.
Kuna hili swala la father figure.
Ndio.
Father figure linasumbua sana wanaume. How do we deal or rather go about it?
Yes, when a man is born and a man is raised, a man looks up to another man to become a man. And a man would want to emulate another man so that he can become a better man and a reliable man in our society. Unfortunately, there are men in our society who are never raised by men, who grew up with absent fathers. There are men who do not know their fathers even to this day. And it is a very, very big challenge in our society, especially for most men. You see, the absence of a father figure in a man's life does not help a man. There are qualities or there is a voice that a father speaks in your life that controls most of the elements that help a man to become a man. There are kicks that our fathers would kick us, that in those days they did not augur well, or they did not come out well, but they were very much important in our lives. They made a huge difference in our lives. And so the father figure challenge has caused a lot of struggle in most men. And the society as it is at now, there are so many programs that have been brought about to mentor men. There are so many books that have been written to help men become men. But you see, all of those things do not help. Although they help in a way, but they do not help to an extent where the presence of a father would have helped. So, I'm speaking as a father. I also have a son. I would want my presence to be felt in that boy as he becomes a man. Personally, I left my father when I was 16. I started staying away from my father when I was a teenager. But there are some of the struggles that I went through that are totally different from the challenges my own brothers who grew up to the age of past 18 in the presence of my father that they didn't go through. So there is, I believe, the presence of a father in the development of a man is very important.
That is powerful. That is powerful. And it reminds me of the powerful women who are rising up in terms of materialistic nature, economic-wise, and even leadership-wise. How do we state a man in that condition?
The rise of women in our society,
and especially
the rise of powerful women in our society right now. It is a good thing. I am one man who supports the empowerment of women. And when a woman is empowered, or when women rises, I am one believer who believes that it is for the good of our society. And it's also good for our family setups. And that should not intimidate a man. Currently, we think the rise of women is posing a threat on men.
That is what is in the domain out there.
Yes, that is how the media and the world is trying to portray. But in as much as women are rising, it should not pose a threat to men. We are not competing. We are supposed to complement each other. When I rise as a man, a woman should also rise.
Yeah.
And that should not be seen as a threat. That should not diminish my vision or the direction I want to go. Should not diminish my aspirations as a man.
Mm-hmm.
That when a woman is rising now, I should be I should feel threatened.
In a way, you feel valueless.
No. We are not in a competition.
Sure.
We are not. You see, life in itself is a race. People are running their races. There are those who are moving faster. There are those who are moving at their own pace.
Mm-hmm.
But as a man, the rise of women should not threaten us. So there is also another way that we have been informed, mm-hmm. that when women are rising, that is like that we are in a battlefield. We are in a war.
We are not.
We are not in a war. We are not fighting each other. We are. It's good for women to be informed.
Yes.
It is good for women to be empowered. It is also good for women to have their space in the society.
And men should not feel embarrassed. Men should
not be embarrassed in any way.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow. You talk of that, and you remind me of a certain quote that one Denzel Washington just posted recently on Twitter, saying, "You must become okay with not being liked. No matter how loving or kind you are, you will never have people, or rather you'll never please people your way into collective acceptance." Then he goes further to say, you could be a whole ray of sunshine and people will still dislike you because they are used to rain.
Yes.
Be okay with shining regardless.
Exactly. The way the world is, or how people were designed to become.
Yes.
We do not like everybody.
Okay.
I believe in life you have helped people who did not. You have met people who didn't like you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have
several
extended a hand to people.
Yes.
Who have never liked you in any way.
Yes.
And so, our value as men cannot be defined by how many people like us.
Yeah.
Our importance as men cannot be defined by how many people accept us. Because there is acceptance, there is a rejection.
Yes.
You can be loved, you cannot be loved again. And so, people should be okay by everything that comes.
Yeah.
If someone chooses to love you the way you are, that should be okay.
So in other words, you're saying we should be okay as men, even if the world is moving so fast. Technologically, the world is moving so fast, people are developing so fast, and in some way or another, maybe a man somehow is dragging with the fast-moving world. How will we cope up with that?
You see, the world is moving so fast.
But men are feeling like, and
that is a bad feeling, because we also need to move with time. Mm-hmm. There are things that the world is changing, yes, technologically and even in the world of information.
Wow.
So we need to move with the world.
Uh-huh.
We need the areas that we feel that we are misinformed. We need to be informed. in areas that we feel that we are dragging behind, we also need to up our game so that we are moving together with time. Because you see, the world is changing, and the world is changing with time.
Wow.
So times are changing. There are things that we used to do 10 years ago which are not being done today.
Wow.
So we cannot continue being comfortable with the things we used to do. And that one now calls for calls us to change.
Wow.
Where change is necessary.
How will you deal with self-esteem as a man?
You see, self-esteem as a man, there are things that that happen in the world, right? And as a man, there are things that should motivate my esteem.
Yes.
And there are things that I should not allow to lower my self-esteem. The happenings in the world, as a man who is moving in the current world, I should allow my mind to be transformed
Exactly.
by the happenings that are current.
Yes.
So that I am not brought down
Yes.
with things that will look like they're not happening.
So we keep up with the moving current.
Yes, we need to keep up with the moving current. We need to keep up with speed.
Wow.
And also, we need to feed our minds with things that are right.
Wow.
With things that empower our mind.
So like
with things that transform our mind. So that we are not comfortable or conformed to the things that can bring us back.
Yes. Wow.
And can threaten our esteem.
You are speaking from a perspective of a pastor.
Not really a pastor, but as a man.
Now, as we wind up this conversation,
Yes.
there is someone looking at us right now and wondering, how will I move out of this situation as a man on these matters that we have talked about, be it self-esteem, be it manhood, be it, call it the fast-moving society, and the man is left behind. Maybe if, as you look into that camera, I would just like you to speak to this gentleman or that teenager at home, listening and watching us in this conversation, on few areas that he can adjust in just less than a minute.
In this current world, or as a person individually, life happens. We are not in a competition in any way. You accept things that are. You accept who you are as you, and you move with the current world as you. And in the current world, I have also noticed that there are people who are pressured by what other people are doing. The success of others is also pressuring men and threatening them and making them feel that they are not as important as they are. And so my urge to most men, especially in my generation, is that we should not conform to the pressures of the world. Number one, we need to understand who we are. We need to accept who we are. And we need also to discover the potential in ourselves.
Wow.
You need to discover your purpose. You need to discover your mission and your vision.
Wow.
And the things that define you as a man.
Wow. That's powerful, man.
When you define the things that are you, or the things that make who you are, you will not allow pressure to pull you down.
Wow. Wow. Defining the things that are you.
Either you.
That is powerful, man. Ladies and gentlemen, that has been one Swaka Emmanuel.
Thank you so
Emmanuel Manze, thanks a lot for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been a pleasure. It's an honor.
Yes.
We appreciate so much for your coming today.
It's my pleasure to be here.
Wow. The conversation still continues.
Yes.
On Twitter,
Yes.
every other handle, social platform. We still hammer this conversation.
Sure.
Let men talk.
Let men talk. We need
Out.
to talk. We need to open up. We should not allow things to pull us down. We should not allow issues to burn us down.
Wow.
We should speak them out.
Wow. That's powerful, man. Thank you for coming, man,
Thank you
on
so
the
much
show.
for the invitation.
Now, Ni hivi basi tunalikunja jamvi la kipindi hiki Talk It Out. Waswahili wanasema kwamba lisilobudi bila shaka hubidi, na hivi ndivyo tunatoka. Niite Johnson Smart katika Talk It Out.